Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. In this video I'm gonna take a further look at my Commodore 128D. I don't know if you remember, but I have been working on this machine a couple of years now and I have made several videos about it. But it's been a long time now since I had this machine up. So the history of this machine is that I bought various parts during yeah, maybe the 5 last years. I bought a motherboard and I bought the case and I bought the keyboard and I got hold of a modern power supply for it as well. So I actually have everything I need, including the internal 1571 floppy disk drive. The motherboard had a fault. I got help from Commodore over at Commodore Retro Innovations to fix that, and it did, but there's still one more fault on this motherboard, and that makes the internal 1571 floppy disk drive not work with this motherboard. I tried to take a look at it before, but I gave a little bit up. I was a little bit fed up by this machine, but now I'm eager again to start looking at this fault and see if I can fix the final piece of the puzzle. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. In my videos I often have the need for some PCBs for my projects, and my favorite PCB manufacturer is of course PCBWay. If you need to have produced your own PCBs, then just head over to PCBWay, where you can upload your Gerber files directly, or you can choose from a wide variety of ready-made PCB designs. PCBWay can also support you in your other hobbyist needs, like 3D printing, CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, injection molding, and other services. Also visit their shared project site, where you can find a lot of already made PCB designs. So go ahead and visit PCBWay.com and check out their services. And here you have it, the very large motherboard of a Commodore 128D. And this is the power supply. I'm just having it sit on a book here so I don't accidentally short out anything. It has internal power supply that runs out of mains, and yeah, as you can see here, this is a modern Meanwell power supply, but it is in the original casing for the original power supply of a 128D. And the machine works. It also works in 64 mode. I didn't connect the keyboard. However, connecting the 1571 floppy disk drive, I cannot communicate with it, but it works with an external 1541 drive. So that makes me think that yeah, the CIA chips and the components responsible for serial communication at least works, but I'm not really sure about how the internal floppy disk drive works compared to an external one. And this is the connector for the internal floppy disk drive. So let's hook it up and see what happens. Now this is mains voltage, 230 volts, so I need to be careful. That's the drive. I have tested it in another Commodore 128D because I have another one fully working, and it did work fine there. So unless it has started to fail now and suddenly got broken, I'm still gonna, at least for now, believe that the drive is okay. Yeah, there's several more connectors for this floppy disk drive. You have this goes over here, but the wires are short, so I need to, yeah, I use another book. GEOS manual could be useful. Here's the keyboard. Yeah, it was incredibly yellowed when I bought it, and it was not cheap for sure. So I think I paid over 350 euros for that keyboard. Let's see now. Yeah, it spins, but I think it actually touches the book. I don't know if I need to prop it up with something. Yeah, no, it doesn't touch. So the drive initializes like it usually does. And now the machine didn't boot. So if I insert the disk, and yeah, I have the lever for this, but I should be able to run the directory by pressing F3, I think. But it says device not present error. And if we start it in C64 mode and type load, oh, I think that shift key is not good. 8. Yeah, find not found error. There's no LED on this drive because the LED is external, so I can't see any status or anything like that. So just to see if I can get anything off this drive, I'm going to try with this 1541 diagnostics cartridge for the Commodore 64. I'm not really sure if it will work with this machine, but at least it starts. So I'm gonna just run through some of the programs here. Yeah, the drive doesn't start at all, but still it reads alignment values. It's not spinning. So if we try to exercise the head, no. Aero scan, bad sectors, device not present. And of course the directory won't work either. So definitely there's something wrong on the motherboard, but what? What I'm gonna do now is to go through the schematics and try to understand how this works, how the machine communicates with the internal drive, what chips are involved and things like that, and then I'm gonna start probing a little bit around and try to check some signals and stuff, see where it does not work. But the thing is, it's a little bit difficult to work on this because the wires are so short, and yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna rip some wires or anything like that. So I don't know how to do this. If I'm gonna try and measure around the board and at the same time have the drive connected. Now I said that using an external drive worked, but I'm not entirely sure now. It's been so long time. I'm gonna try with the SD2IC. I'm not sure what's up with this SD2IC. It seems to just turn off after a while. No, it just turned off. Yeah, okay then. Let's try the real drive then and set it to device 9. Yeah, and this takes up all my space. Let's see now. Oh my goodness. Doesn't work. Doesn't initialize. Oh, there it came. Yeah. I think I set the jumpers to drive 9 now. No, apparently not. One is down and one is up. If I put both down, I don't remember how the switch is supposed to be set. So it might be device 10 now. No. I took out the 1581, but even that won't communicate. Well, look at that. I just needed to be sure that the drive I have is working and that it is, and the floppy is working too. So I took out the C64 just to test it, and it does in fact work. And it's set to device 10. So on the 128 then, no, doesn't work. So yeah, my initial thought about that external drive was working is not true anymore. Pretty sure I tested that before, but yeah, maybe I don't remember correctly. But then that moves the potential error a step further up in the possible stack of sources for errors. Then it might be the CIA chips. I'm actually going to start by trying to figure out what's wrong with the external drive communication. I printed the schematics I find it easier to look at the paper than zooming and scrolling on the screen. And this is the part of the I/O for the most part. His CIA chip U106. It's connected to the serial data port, but I see also this 5710 is also connected to the serial port. And then we have this here, U108. It's a CX2185. It's some special chip. It's connected to the external drive. External drive should work independently of the internal drive. This board is so huge, it almost doesn't fit on my bench. So this computer actually has 3 CPUs. This is the 8502, that's the regular chip that runs the Commodore. It's the same as the 6510 on the C64. Then we have the Z80, which actually is capable of running CPM programs. And this one can run on 2 MHz, I think. And then we have the 6502 CPU that is used for the disk drive. You know, a 1541 or external disk drives, they also have a 6502, and they are in fact almost like a full computer in their own. I actually think I'm mixing a little bit here. These 2 chips are 6522s. These are the VIA chips. There's 2 of those. And the schematic I have, it is supposedly for the 128 DCR. And here you can see that the 6522 is connected to data, clock, attention. However, on this page, we actually have the serial bus. And it also has data, clock, attention. And of course it goes to the CIA2, which is a 6526, and there's 2 of those. The 6526 CIA1, it's connected to a keyboard and joystick, stuff like that. So those are the 2 chips I'm interested in right now. And there's one there, and where is the other one? Oh, U4, up here. It's not populated, no wonder an external drive doesn't work. So I have probably taken it out before, or maybe I lent it for some other computer. No wonder the external drive doesn't work then. Well, that explains it. I'm sorry about that. I have a bunch of Commodore 128 chips, but no CIA. A spare 128 board. Yeah, they're both here. 6526 there and there. So I'll lend one from this. This is a working board, by the way. So hopefully that will help for the situation. For the external drives, at least. Well, at least now it's searching, but the drive didn't react. But the drive, it actually is resetting when I start the machine. Go64 doesn't work. It works, but not while holding the Commodore key. Try in 64 mode. No, of course, it was device 10. No, it doesn't work. Well, I'm gonna try a little bit of contact cleaner. Looks nice. Nope. I know that on this computer, actually the CIA 1 is also the one responsible for the serial connection. And this is CIA 1, and it has some very, very short pins. Maybe if I swap those around. Yeah, as you can see, very short pins on this, and that makes it a problem to sit it into a socket properly. But maybe it sits better there. No. I took the other CIA chip from the other machine. Just need to find a working baseline here. Nope. Well, that's strange. Anything else missing here? Yeah, this chip, this is the SID chip, so that's not necessary. And this empty socket here is U36. That's actually an expansion socket, not populated from the factory. Well, now I don't get the cursor. I swapped the two CIA chips and I don't get the cursor. And the cursor is, the blinking cursor is a feature of one of the CIAs. That is indeed strange. Now, if I take out this CIA U4, then the cursor blinks. If I insert one of the two spare CIAs I have, then it stops blinking. Yeah, I think it's simply waiting for the internal floppy disk drive, which I didn't connect, because if I hit run stop restore, then I can type. So I think I changed it to 9 now, but still it won't load. I wonder if it actually needs the internal drive to be able to come to a clean start here. So let me try that. Well, it turns on the paper, but it didn't change anything. According to what I read, a non-functioning internal drive should not prevent the external drive from working. However, it could be that some of the glue logic for the drives are bad and thus preventing both, because they share some of the glue logic and the VIA chips and everything here. And what I read also, you can disable the internal drive completely by actually taking out this chip and disable the connection on pin 1. I'm just going to lift that. That should completely disable the internal drive. Yeah, now it tries to boot from the external drive. And the ready prompt came right away. Let's try that again. Turn it on. Yeah. It starts to boot from the external drive. Or at least it tries to access it, and then the ready prompt comes right away. Let's see now if we... Yeah. Directory works now with the external drive. Let me drive from 64 mode. Yeah. Now it loads right away from device 8. Try loading a game. So the CIAs are both good then, and disabling the internal drive from the IEC bus seems to loosen it up. But that gives me a clue that there's something wrong with the internal drive logic, maybe downstreams from this chip here to the internal drive. Maybe it could even be this chip that's faulty. Loaded fine. Yeah, it doesn't have a SID, so... So what is this chip 113? It's a 74LS14. Yeah, first thing I'll do is to swap that chip with a new one. I think I have one. Yeah, I find a used one. I don't know if it's good or not. Let's see if we get a ready prompt. No, it doesn't. Yeah, and there's no change with the drive installed either. I'm gonna test those chips. That's simply an inverter. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that one failed. Oh, it passed. So they're both good. So then probably something is holding that line from somewhere else. Just need to find the chip and see where it leads. Yeah, my print was not clear enough, and here is U113 pin 1, so that goes to the attention, and then it's inverted and it goes to the 6522, the VIA chip, on pin 17 and 40, and that's also connected to the U105 gate array. So that's obviously some suspected candidates. Maybe gate array chip is not good, but I'm gonna measure the resistance from pin 1 to ground. It's not shorted, it's open. No, that looks normal. I'm gonna try and scope that pin, see what happens. Yeah, it gives me 1 volt. Now the machine is in fact turned off. I turn on the machine, it goes high. After a little while, then it's low, and then it remains high. So that's not a constant 5 volts from the boot, but reset again. It goes down and then it goes up to 5 and then down and up to 5. And from what I read, that is normal behavior on that pin, that the attention line goes high and then low and then high, and it's active high apparently. And I checked pin 2, which is the inverse, and it works. So by cutting the connection here to the VIA chip and also up to the gate array, things seems to work normal. So I'm thinking about this is held high wrongly, perhaps, I don't know. So where is that coming from then? I've been probing a little bit more around, and I think I found a fault in this schematic. The attention signal comes in here and it goes through the U113, comes out on pin 2, and then it's supposed to go up to the gate array at pin 24. That's what the schematics says. I know it's difficult to see this on the screen. However, when I measure, it's not going to pin 24, it's going to pin 22. And that, in fact, looks to be the opposite signal, the inverse signal. So here's pin 2 on U113, and this is U105, the gate array. It's a 40-pin chip, so that's pin 21. And that's pin 22, yeah, so it's definitely connected to pin 22 and not pin 24. So is that a fault on the schematic? Is the schematic for a different revision? I cannot find any other schematics for the Commodore 128 DCR, so this is the only one I have. Or is it in fact a fault on the PCB, that some soldering has gone bad, or some connection or bodge or anything like that has been hooked up incorrectly? I need to double check with the other machine. Yeah, having it on this chair was actually a good idea. Then you can turn it around. It's quite heavy machine. And there's screws on the back and under. And of course that circuitry is under the floppy disk drive, so I don't know if I can reach that. Yeah, I see if I can reach it. No, I measured. In fact, there is a difference. The other machine is the exact same ASCII number, same board, looks exactly the same. However, there, pin 2 goes to pin 23 and 24, which it does not here. It goes to pin 22. Pin 23 and 24 is not connected together on this machine. The gate array chip has never been touched, so it's original. So definitely there's a fault on this board. I just need to figure out what it is. So this is the back side, and here we have the two chips. There's pin 2 on the 113. It goes to pin 22. And it should go there, 23, 24, but those have the traces on the other side. But do we have anything wrong here? Nothing shorted. So I just need to follow the path of pin 2, and it goes over here to this VIA. Yeah, and of course that VIA comes up right under this chip. Now I find this very strange. Pin 22 from pin 2, and it also goes to pin 40 here on the U106, the VIA, which is correct according to the schematic. I can actually see there's a trace. It goes all the way there, under, over here and over here. So so the PCB looks to be correct. However, it's not similar to the other machine then, and not similar to the schematics. Maybe they just used another type of gate array that has different pinouts. I don't know. I took out the floppy drive from the other machine, and this is the working one, and now I can actually compare. Yes, the PCB layout is different. Pin 22 is not connected to pin 40 there. However, pin 23 is, and pin 23 is also connected to pin 2 there. And this is a completely different chip, U105. This says HD61J215P Japan. And on the other PCB it's a Commodore branded 25182801. Yeah, this says 61J215P and this other one says 64H156. Anyway, while I have the other floppy disk drive out, I'm gonna hook this up and see if it actually makes a difference. Not that I think it will, but yeah, you never know. As I said, I have tested the other drive before, but in the meantime it could of course have gone wrong. There is of course a possibility for that. No, it's the same, doesn't work. It just hangs on startup. Well, at least that makes me more sure that there's nothing wrong with the actual drive I have. So on the faulty board we have this gate array. It's a Commodore branded. It's 25182801. And on the working machine it's the HD61J215P. That seems to be a Hitachi variant, and apparently they don't have the same pinout, or at least the board is connected differently to this chip, because this is different on this machine. So a definitive suspect then is this gate array chip. And of course I obviously don't have a chip like that lying around. I only have these two PCBs, but of course I need to check what happens after this chip and interfacing to the floppy disk drive. Might be something later in the line. And from what I can read, this gate array can have different revisions and even have different pin count. There's a 42 pin variant. Actually, in the service manual for the 1571 there's a block diagram for this gate array, and this is the 40/42 pin, the 251828. This is the chip I have, but pin 22, 23, 24 is not even on this. So it could also be the 6502 CPU that's faulty. And here is the pin out. Here we have 22, which is ATNA, which is the signal I was expecting from U113 pin 2. And here is the 42 pin variant where it's on pin 24. Did I count wrong? Do I have the 42 pin variant? 18, 19, 20. No, I definitely have the 40 pin variant. And that definitely means that it's pin 22, and that's what we have, so that is correct. So from the gate array we definitely have communication through 1, 2, 3, 4 chips, and this is U101, this is the 6502 over here. So this hasn't been changed or tested. So if I'm gonna gamble on this chip being faulty, which I don't have a replacement for, or this one which I have a replacement for, the 6502, then I'm gonna desolder this one. I could of course try to probe some signals out of the gate array and check those, but since the drive doesn't work at all, I don't think I'm gonna figure out anything useful anyway. I don't know too much about how that would work. But I know the attention signal from the serial data bus is correct here and comes into this chip, but after that nothing's happening. I checked all these logic chips, they're all fine. So what I'm simply going to do is desolder the two VIA chips and the 6502. But at least if I take out these, I can replace the 6502 and I can swap these two and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, this is going to take a while, so I'm going to skip a lot of the desoldering. I'm probably going to use at least an hour. I'm going to start with adding some flux and some fresh solder. This came out without too much hassle and no damages. Very careful, I don't want to rip any pads or traces. Yeah, and then in with some sockets, and then we can start to test these chips. So now that I got sockets in, I can actually try and swap some chips, and I marked the original position. This was 101, that was the CPU. I'm gonna just place it back where it was. But the 106 and 104, they're the same chip, the VR chips. There are two of those, and those I'm gonna swap around. So if there's something wrong with one of those, making this fault, then it should resolve it or present another type of fault. If my voice sounds strange, it's because I got a terrible cold. Yeah, we got it ready right away. Did we do that before? So let's run directory command. No, device not present. Yeah, there's a problem with these desoldered chips. The legs have been cut off on the back side, and they're incredibly short, so they actually don't sit very well in the socket. But that didn't change. I actually said that I didn't have a spare for this gate array because I thought it was special for the Commodore 128. But in fact, it is the same as in the 1541. And of course, then I have spares. I have one broken 1541. But for now, I leave it in. I'm going to try and replace the 6502. Yeah, these are some 65C02, and they should be compatible, but a little bit more modern. Well, let's see if that makes a difference. Oh, I don't have high hopes, but we'll see. Well, no, the ready didn't come right away, and the directory command just hangs, so there's a difference. Maybe the C variant isn't compatible after all. I'll try the other one. I can find our original MOS if I look around. Nope, still the same. I have the third 65C. I found another place and it gave the same error. So that's the same behavior as the original 6502. I have no way to test these chips except put them in some kind of machine that needs them. Here's the part drive. This is the one I tried to repair a couple of videos back, and I figured that the read-write head was damaged, but otherwise it worked. Let's hope this has some socketed parts, and it does not. And the gate array chip is not the same. Dang, but at least we have 6502 and the two 6522s. I don't want to start desoldering those three chips, too much work. I have another one here, it's working. Yes, and there we have them all in sockets. Well, that's great. It actually has a 65C02, the original MOS 6522s, the VIA chips. Oh my god. So I'm gonna remove those. And the gate array chip on this one is totally different, 325572. And these are long-legged chips, so they should sit very well in the socket. Alright, let's test. If this doesn't work, then I don't know. Oh, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. Didn't put the chip correctly in. Usually I do a check before I turn on the machine. Ready came up. Directory. No, that's not it. Well, at least now I know these chips are good. Yeah, I asked ChatGPT and he says that the gate array chips from the 1541 is not compatible with this. But this, the 251828, is in fact found in the 1541B and C. So I don't know what the B and C drive means, but maybe I have that. Yeah, I just took out the third Commodore 1541, and this is a white one. Where is it? There. 251828, yes, that's the chip I want. But I don't want to butcher a perfectly good drive, so I'm just gonna lend this. I actually found the chip for sale, a couple of places, eBay and the Retro 8-bit shop, I think. So I'm gonna order one, if it's that's faulty. More desoldering. That's not my favorite job, to say the least. I might be hunting the wrong rabbit here, I realize that, but I'm gonna try the easy things first. And if that gives no result, then I might try and dig deeper. Yeah, the LED leads are soldered in. Yeah, why not? Oh no, it has a shield. It's soldered to the PCB. Even more work. Yes, take this out and then I'll be back. Yeah, that came out really easy. Easy board to desolder. I love that. Yeah, now of course I need to desolder this one too. Alright, I installed the socket and I put the new, old chip there from the other drive. Let's see. Well, it says ready. Let's try directory. No, it still doesn't work. No. Hey, it's working. I don't know, I suddenly got the thought, alright, I'm gonna try device 9. I have not plugged in the other drive, but my god. Oh, it loaded, but now there's something wrong with the graphics. Why? Why is it device 9? Of course, then the directory won't work. But definitely it did not load from device 9 before, because I tried that several times. There's no device jumper on this, is it? Let me try the other drive from the other Commodore 128D. Yeah, that's the other drive. This is strange why it works as device 9. Hope it don't fall. Directory. No, the keyboard doesn't work. I think this machine is somewhat cursed. What? Something's wrong with the keyboard? I actually swapped the keyboard because the other one didn't work very well. I took this from the other machine. But no. Then back with this. Suddenly one of the CIA chips might have gone bust. Oh no, that was just a wire. F3. No. Now something else has failed now on this machine. Isn't that typical? Oh yeah, this CIA chip was all loose. I probably, when I had the drive on top of it, something happened. It has come loose. Now then, it's still the same. And load, comma 9. Yeah, that totally works. Apparently there is a address select for which device you're gonna use on the motherboard. So there's supposed to be a jumper here near U106, this VIA chip. Yeah, I see a jumper there, and seems like there's two jumpers. Seems like one is actually cut. See here, these two jumpers on the other machine, they're both connected. This is connected. This is not. Hopefully that's not the issue I had all the time, but I'm pretty sure I tried device 9 before. I'm gonna test that afterwards. Yeah, let me just try and bridge that. A little bit cumbersome. Yes. So now I expect F3 to work. Yes! Ooh, but what's wrong with the graphics? I have another repair. I also need to repair the keyboard. Just for sanity, I want to check if it actually was this chip. Insert the one that was in here. Of course, now with a lot shorter legs, but yeah, hopefully it works. That's strange. It started up and seems like it's tried to boot. Yeah, it works alright. No, it doesn't. Show nothing. Yeah, right, it works. How about the other chips I took from the other drive? The CPU.
I mean, I swapped some chips, then I tried the drive, and of course I didn't try device 9 then. But if everything works with the old chips and it only was that jumper, then I'd be mad. Yes, CPU works, and then we have the two VIA chips. Well, now it behaves differently. It doesn't present ready, but if I press run stop restore, I can still go into the basic. No. Yeah, so there's actually a fault. I knew there was a fault. Nope, it won't work with those VIA chips. I'm gonna check which one is faulty. Yes, it was the 106. This one, I put back the new chip from the other drive, and now it works. But that's great, it works. It doesn't load, it doesn't always load the directory. I don't know why. Anyway, I don't want to dwell more about this. I'm gonna use the good chips with the long pins and have the best possible solution for this machine. Yeah, it loads, but the graphics I need to figure out might have to do with color RAM, apparently. Let's see C64 mode. Yeah, now it appears as drive 8 here too. Yeah, there's color issues here too. Where is the color RAM on this machine? I'm gonna try the diagnostics cartridge. I think the color RAM on the 128, it's double the size of the Commodore 64. So it's not the same chip. Let's see what this says. It won't run. The desk test max switch. Maybe this will work here. There's no color issues here now, as far as I can see. It shows red on the kernel. I guess that's because it's a 128. It's a difference. It's checking the full RAM now, but it's only the 64K since it's for the C64. But the color RAM is not part of the regular RAM. Yeah, at least all the regular RAM is good. So if I type a lot of characters here, apparently there's no issue. But if I run the directory, I see some issues. Yeah, now it works. So, some instability. Yeah, no, it's fine in the 64 mode too. Yes, I don't want to do anything with that for now. If it occurs again, then I might take a look at it. But I need to figure out what's wrong with this keyboard. No, the keyboard seems to be fine. The shift key is somewhat bad. Yeah, the Commodore key doesn't work at all. Commodore key doesn't work at all. Shift key works very bad. I mean, it works if you press it real hard. I don't know if I actually had this open before. I don't remember. I bought it from a guy in Germany and it was incredibly yellow. I think I have a picture here, but just by placing it in sunlight, it came back to this. And of course you need to remove those. Oops. Here we have 3 of these type of switches that needs to be desoldered. But the man's got to do what the man's got to do. This plate needs to come off. It has all these tiny screws. Hopefully it's just some dirt. Just gonna clean the keyboard membrane or this PCB here. Yeah, there's some big blobs of solder here, so just so I don't make a mess, I just use my desoldering iron. You need to be quick, otherwise you will melt the plastic in these switches. And not only is the wire soldered in, it's actually turned around. And if you mess around too much with this, you will melt the plastic in the switch. Let's see now, I think I never ever opened a Commodore 128 keyboard. course. There's also some plastic strips there. Yeah, it's very dirty. I can see it. I need to cut that strip. Oh, this strip too needs to come. I don't see the point in that, but okay. I think that's some piece of tobacco. So it's over here, it doesn't work. Looks a little bit worn. These are like these carbon pads. You need to be careful not to disturb them too much. I don't know how well it shows on the camera, but you see all the dust. So I just use a little cotton pad like this, a little bit of alcohol, and then gently wipe it. But not too aggressive, or you will wipe away that carbon on the pads, and then you're in trouble. Ideally, you should take out all the key plungers and clean off these little rubber pads there. And I learned a very good trick how to revive these rubber pads, and that was to rub them against some paper, because it has a little bit of friction, but not too much. So that's what I'm gonna do. You see, there's a little bit of rubber left on the paper. I do this for all. So hopefully that fixed it. Now in with all the 35 screws or what. Oh. No, there's only 28 screws. Yeah, let's see now if it's better. Machine is still running, and nothing wrong with the characters. It's a little bit cramped in here. Actually, I have a keyboard tester I could have used for this. You can measure the resistance of all the keys. Okay, Commodore key. Yes, yes, it works. Yes. I'm nearly holding it. Almost no pressure. And the shift key. Yes, yes. All the keys work. Nice. Yes, I'm really happy I actually managed to finish this machine, but I'm not quite finished. I need to assemble the machines, and I know for sure I'm missing all the screws, because I bought this motherboard untested, and it had some faults and it's now repaired, but obviously it didn't come with any screws. And of course the case I bought too without the screws, and the drive, no screws for that. So this is the bottom case for it. I need to mount the LED light and the power LED, and I mean the drive LED is here. And it has a couple of rust spots. I need to remove those. And here's the lever. It doesn't look quite like this one. Much shorter. Yeah, it's broken, but it has been repaired. Something. Alright, I'm gonna clean up this and assemble the whole thing. See if I find the correct screws and... Actually, there's one thing I forgot to test. Does the device 9 also work? Yeah, it's no, it's device 10, so it works. It's kind of funny. This is one of my old floppy disks from back in the day, and actually I found a game, Astro Belts, programmed by Ovesen and Ovesen. Press trigger to start. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe needs a joystick. The motherboard is in, but without screws. I imagine it will be kind of difficult to find the correct screws for this machine. I think I will have to go to the hardware store. Luckily I have the other machine. I can just take out the screws and see how they look, and check if I have something. I have quite a variety of screws, but of course not every dimension there is. Yeah, that's the right size, but it's too long. Yeah, these will work, but they're a little bit too short. This then shorter, but yeah, it only needs to go through the actual PCB, and then it should hold. Yeah, that's good. I was wondering what this big LED was for, and this is of course not original, but it is simply just a drive light for the floppy drive. So I just, yeah, it's already loose, just solder in the wires there. I never saw a light in it either. I want to see if there's actually is light in this. Yes, purple. Anyway, the original LED is there. Hopefully it's working. Yeah, I found the correct case screws. They're a little bit longer, but I don't think that's a problem. This is the original. Instead of just soldering in the wires for the LED, I'm gonna use like this DuPont connector. Instead, I'm gonna solder in pin headers there. Yeah, so that's fixed. I don't know the polarity of this, but I think the middle one is the plus, and then 2 on the sides are minus. Then I gambled the red is plus. Ooh, I forgot. I almost forgot. We need a SID chip in this machine. I'm not entirely sure which kind of SID chip this machine uses. This is a 6581. I need to check. Yeah, this uses the 8580. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I have that. I've started to run out of SID chips lately. I have one here, but yeah, it has this heatsink on. Nope, that too was a 6581. And the reason you need to have the correct SID is because they run on different voltages. Those who search shall find 8580 R5. Maybe in fact I think this is the one that was in this machine. Just wanna put it in and test it before we continue. Try the Donkey Kong just to test. It has such a nice Adrian Black music. Yes. Yes, that SID chip definitely sounds correct. Now I'm gonna install the cover of the VIC-2 chip and the other graphics chip, the 80 column chip. Yes, now we're good there. And then the power supply. And how is that mounted? Obviously it's gonna go all the way there, but I guess it's not supposed to just sit on top of this box. Here's the original power supply in the other machine I have on my lap. So it looks to be a little bit simpler, a much bigger transformer. Yeah, I see it has standoffs, some thick standoffs. I'm not sure if I can find something like that, but I think you only need one, because there's screws in the back and on the sides here. Yeah, the screws for the power supply, it's like that. I think I have some plastic or nylon standoffs, not the same thickness, but and for that standoff you're not supposed to have a screw here. You're gonna use that. Yeah, that fits. I actually found a metal one. When I start looking in my drawers and boxes, I find stuff I didn't remember I had. Yeah, and it's actually the exact size. The nylon one was a little, it was 1 millimeter too short. Yeah, I just remember this. We need a cover. Yes, now. Power supply is in, and now for the power LED, which we have this connector. There's already a wire ready for that. I just need to, yeah, I don't know what to do here. Yeah, maybe I just make a little connector on this wire. Or I could just solder in this wire to the LED module here. It has a little PCB. I just cut this wire here. And then I'm gonna just solder on pin headers to the wire ends. Simple. So there's 2 pins. Just try and get this around. I don't know if the power LED or the other LED actually works, but that's what I'm gonna find out now. Yes, it works. Nice. Of course, I need my brand signed. Lastly, but not least, the floppy drive goes into here. Yes, I know this became a long video. I was actually gonna skip all this assembly stuff and just present you the finished machine, but I thought this is just as interesting. It's the same kind of screws that I used on the motherboard. That broken off lever, is it any good? Yeah, it fits, but is it good enough to? No. You can just turn it around. So I need to fix this. Yes, that was it. I don't think I forgot anything now. Yeah, there's even a fuse holder and fuse for this power supply. By the way, this power supply was made by Ray Carlson. He's been doing a lot of Commodore stuff over the years, but I think he's retired now. Yeah, his webpage is still up. New custom built replacements. So I actually just ordered it from him and he sent it to me. Custom made. It was kind of expensive. I think I paid like $160 or something for it, and then shipping. I mean, he was retired, but he stopped making electronics. Let's test. There was no drive LED light. Let's see. Oh, shit. I touched the power supply. I got a little bit of a shock. Just a little bit. Yeah, I think maybe I reversed the polarity. Let's see now. Yeah, there's LED alright. Nice. Yeah, what happened? I touched the heatsink there, I think. I got a little shock, but it was not the full 230 volts for sure. If it had been that, then I would probably have jumped off my chair. So definitely dangerous working with these. Now the final piece of the puzzle. I see some dirt here, or maybe it's rust. I don't like rust. The paint has come off a little bit, and definitely there's a little bit of rust forming. Usually what I do with rust, if I don't grind it down and repaint it, I just use a little bit of WD-40. I rub it in. That should protect it, at least for for a while. I mean, in this case, it's not perfect, but it's, yeah, it's in okay shape. A few scratches. Yeah. Yes. Finished. Such a beautiful machine. I really love the 128D. It's a bit yellowed, the front, but I'm thinking now that the sun is back and it's still cold, I'm gonna put it outside on the sunny days and then it will be much brighter. But this machine deserves something else than this crappy old LCD TV. Well, it's not that old. We need a real Commodore monitor, CRT style. This is an original Commodore 1701 CRT monitor, and this is period correct for that time. This was used with the Commodore 64s and 128s. I don't know how it looks on the video, but I think it looks good. This monitor, I replaced all the capacitors in it a couple of years ago, and that was a lot of work. I made a video about that. But there's one thing I want to test, I didn't test, and that's using cassette. See if that works. And the cassette port is over on this side here. Yeah, that's not a bad picture at all. Obviously I can change just a little bit the brightness and colors and stuff. I'll use my regular test tape, Ninja Turtles. And this cassette player, I know it works. I recently tested it. The 64 mode looks very washed out. I don't know. Maybe this monitor is a little bit washed out. I mean, used a lot. Yes, for sure, it found turtles. Oh my god, oh my god. Sorry. At least the sound is good on this monitor. Now it looks much lighter on the video than it actually is. How about the Kung Fu Flash? Does that work with the Commodore 128T? I suppose it will work, because obviously it supports C64 cartridges. Yeah, I have some games here. Just gonna test joystick too. Pit Stop 2. Yeah, joystick works. This is a great game. It's a little bit dark, but I can't get it any brighter. Yeah, the machine works great, but there's one more thing I want to test, and that is with this very nice little tiny CGA monitor. This is monochrome, but it works with the 128. I have hooked it up now to the CGA output on the machine, and then it's gonna work in the 80 column mode. Oh, it's high-pitched noise. That's not good. It is on, but then it doesn't make a noise. But as soon as I give it a video signal, it's very high-pitched noise. No, that's too bad. It was working the last time I used it. I think it's maybe 1 year ago, but now it's dead, and judging by the noises, I think it needs a service. Yeah, it smells a little burnt, so I better turn it off. Always something with this old stuff. However, I have this. This is a CGA to SCART, and that means I can connect CGA output, and it turns into RGB to my TV. A problem with that dongle and the SCART is that it builds a lot of space behind the machine that you can't use, and it also needs to run on external power. Anyway, it should be working now. Let's check. No signal. Yeah, now it got a signal, but there's nothing. Yeah, I don't know. It's yellow, alright, but I didn't have an issue with that before. Yeah, you see there's something on the screen, but it stays black. Well, look at that. There wasn't anything wrong with the machine after all. Yeah, what happened? I was testing the machine in just in regular 128 mode, 40 column mode, and I figured that the 4080 column display switch, it doesn't work on the keyboard, so I took the other keyboard, and here it works. So even if it was pushed down, it was still in 40 column mode. I saw that because if it's in 80 column mode, then the 40 column mode and the regular video output just displays empty Commodore 128 screen. So it actually just works fine. And yeah, the text looks very bright and crisp. Let's boot CPM then. Yeah, that detects 80 column mode. Oh no, BIOS error on A, no CCP.com file. Yeah, maybe something wrong with the floppy. So then I only need to figure out what's wrong with the 4080 switch on the other keyboard. I mean, I did desolder all those switches. Maybe I did solder it on bad or something. I don't know. Maybe it's loose now. Yeah, I'm gonna check right away. Is this one? No, that seems to be okay. Yes, there's definitely an issue. I pushed in all three buttons. This one is working. This is not open line. This is not open line. So there's actually faulty buttons there. How strange. I bought this keyboard fully working and I paid almost 300 euros for it, so kind of disappointing now. I was pretty quick when I desoldered and soldered, so I don't think I have damaged those buttons. The caps lock is not working either. Let's see if we can fix that quickly. Is it just open straight down? I can pump some contact cleaner. Nope, didn't seem to help a lot. Yeah, now this is working. But not the 4080 switch. Well, after pumping a little bit more contact cleaner from different sides, it actually works now. I also pushed it a lot of times. Yes, now it worked. Nice. Wait, not quite finished yet. I need to find the lever for the drive. This one broken. I found two 3D models and I found a new exciting color. Yes, this works. What do you think about the color? And the second one, this one you need to glue. No, that's too loose. I'm not gonna use that color. That was just a test print to see which fits, and apparently this fits the best. I also thought about just taking off the part here and gluing it on there. Maybe that's the solution. That would look more original. One of my all-time favorite games. I totally forgot how to play it. You're a spy and you compete against the other spy to find your way out and find hidden stuff and find the airport in the end. And it's like a maze and you can set traps. I don't know how to set trap. So that was it. I'm finally finished with this project. I checked on my YouTube channel. I made the first video about this machine in November 23. So that's almost 2.5 years ago. However, the parts, the motherboard and the case I got a long time before that, maybe 21. And that was actually some random purchases I did. But then I suddenly thought to myself that I could build a complete 128D with a little bit of more parts. But it costed me a lot. I think total in parts this machine has cost me around 500 euros or dollars. But I'm happy to be finished and I hope you enjoyed this video too. And I just want to say thanks for watching. Now I'm gonna sell this machine, see if I can get the money back at least. Because I have another complete machine that I actually think is better than this. It also has installed the Jiffy DOS, so yeah, it's a little bit more convenient. Yes, again, thank you very much for watching and a special thanks to my patrons. If you want to become a patron, just visit patreon.com and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.